Hi everyone on YouTube. This is Na again, making another one of my from a live YouTube stream. I decided to come back because I wanted to post the upcoming Halloween Kills, right? Trailers for the movie. And I was gonna paste it to the relevant video that I touch base on that. And yeah, it was hard for me to look it up, so I'm going to uh, make a video about here. So, as you guys know, October the 15th, the new Halloween Kills is coming out in theater. So, I did post a link to that, a little more background to the narrators telling a little bit about more about that and the history of Halloween. And I wanted to link it to my research paper in abnormal psychology on Halloween. And I did a video about this, but I decided to do it again because it was hard for me to go look it up. Do it again. It doesn't hurt to reiterate fact-based stuff, right? So this is in relationship to the new upcoming Halloween Kills and October the 15th. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that's going to want to see it. And yeah, as the narrator said in the YouTube, right? Pretty much the world is waiting for it to come out. So here's my research paper on it, and it's I think I'm gonna kill Halloween Kills for you. Let's just put it that way. But I am a fan of Halloween too, so I'm going to still enjoy watching Halloween. Right? So if you don't get to go see it in the cinemas on the 15th, that's fine. I'm pretty sure it's going to be so popular that usually those are the kinds of movies you have to buy, or if it's on YouTube, or if it's on Hulu or Netflix. Netflix probably not going to have it because it's too new. But Hulu, they might have it, but then you're going to have to, there's a catch, right? You have to subscribe to their cable, which is very pricey compared to YouTube. So YouTube, I think, has a way better stuff at a better price and the best deal. And they work in relationship to T-Mobile and other companies, right? It's all about good relationships and maintaining it. So here's my paper. I'm going to jump right into it to kind of jog you guys' memories, right? Because I know I have memories of Halloween. That movie scares me. The music. The funny thing is, if you set up the Zedge app, which T-Mobile told me about, they have Halloween as a phone, So it was funny because I set it on my phone throughout the year. So every time somebody called me, my phone would be like, for adults, they would be like, for kids, it didn't bother them because they didn't even know what the music meant. But when I was out and about, my phone rang and adults heard it. They were like, is that like the theme song for Halloween? So yes, I admit it. I am a fan of Halloween. Okay. And I'm still a fan of Halloween, even though I wrote this paper. So let's go ahead and refresh our memories of what my research was about. Okay. So this is on mental disorders portrayed in Halloween compared to textbook, which I'm going to fill in since I'm here. Okay, my name, Santa Ana College, table of content. I went in and fixed the pages. Remember I told you the table of content pages were a little off. They need to be right in relationship to your research paper. And then I corrected, the page header. And that's why it's good to not use Google, because Google can kind of toggle back and forth on those things when you're running out of time. And it has a lot of glitches where I submitted it double space into my Canvas, and some of the stuff went like triple. And also be aware, a lot of English automated corrections is wrong, right? So you really need to know your English and correct those to have the perfect paper, which is basically your target. It's like, why are you writing a paper when you don't have an aim, right? A purpose, to be on point, right? So here's my paper, and I will go in and kind of correct errors that I didn't do before. So this benefits me and everybody here on YouTube. So my paper is to compare the way mental disorders are portrayed in films supported by social medias. So plural for that. Okay. The comparison of, so what I'm essentially doing is I am kind of demonstrating what English honors is. So it's kind of like the 3-word rules that my professor Ricardo Castillo said in terms of plagiarism, right? But this is more on grammar. Just 2 to 3 rules on your paper. You can't be doing 2 to 3 stuff like that. Don't let your paper bleed out, right? Just keep it going, right? The comparison of what is fact-based description in our textbook and its resources, and secondary citation, right? Secondary citations from other related, okay? Secondary citations, it means that other than the author in the book, secondary citations to the textbook, right? Secondary citation from other, okay? Other sources, right? So a lot of English honors is not trying to sound clever, but fully clarifying, right, what you're trying to say. The producer of Halloween and creation of Michael Myers. See, that makes no sense, right? So I'm talking about the producer of Halloween. The producer of Halloween, Rob Zombie. The producer of Halloween, which is Rob Zombie. And sorry about that. I lost my live stream for a while. The producer of Halloween, Rob Zombie, and why, where, why or, you know, from what sources he, right, used in the creation of Michael Myers, right? Complete thought, which, you know, that's part of freedom of speech, right? Not only freedom of speech, but to be able to fully say what you have to say, want to say without being in fear of other people, right? Or you know, other critics, commentator, you know, what other countries think, right? Outside of the United States. I will approach this systemically as prompted by Professor Ricardo Castillo. Full thought. And what is the research model? No, that's not what. Using. Using the research model of analyzing mental disorder through abnormal psychology and Cengage. All right. All right. And that research model is, I need to expand it on it. Okay. The research model of biological. See how it makes a difference when you spell it all out, lay it all out on the table? Biological, psychological, social, comma, and social culture. Social cultural. Right? So in English honors or English, you want your comma to avoid excessive use of commas. Essentially, it is used to itemize, right, your thoughts, right? Think of it in terms of when you look at the sky, yes, it's a sky, but it's like you might see 1, 2, 3 clouds, right? So yes, you have a sentence, you have a noun, you have a verb, you have the basic sentence, but within that sentence, you might have several, you know, and those several things they need to be itemized using commas, not excessive commas. How do you know what's excessive? Is basically if right here I posted 4 items, right? So you're going to need 3 commas. I have 1, 2, 3, right? And that clearly lets you know and the reader know there's 3 items going, okay? It's usually however many items you have minus 1. Okay. Then I go on to saying analyzing mental. Okay. The objective, right, is to analyze mental disorders through abnormal psychology and Cengage, right? And I'm making sure I didn't say that already, which I didn't. Cengage is the program that is used to teach my class. Abnormal psychology and Cengage online, course, right? My hope is to look more at the facts, or my hope is to examine or re-examine, right? Halloween movie, the Halloween movie, comma, looking solely at the facts, right? The facts, at the related facts. All right. And then I went on to say related facts, although, right? Transitional. It, right? That, I need to be more descriptive, that attempt, or my attempt, although that attempt might ruin my fears of Halloween and that of Michael Myers, right? So there was 2 items in there. Did you guys catch that? Fears of Halloween and that of Michael Myers. Fears on Halloween and that of Michael Myers come out, right? 2 items. So a lot of my sentences were kind of incomplete or confusing. Utilizing all sources, like that sounds strange. And then he said that he didn't want us to use I, first person's third. Utilizing all resources available to come up with new or perhaps reinforced perceptions of Halloween, reiterated the portrayal of mental disorders, to the actual correct or the actual current descriptions especially through, make sure you use the right, especially the DSM-5 5. And what I mean by that is when you're looking in terms of a book, you wouldn't go through a book, right? A better understanding of a better understanding of the movie Halloween and personal and the public ever growing perspective of, right? Make sure you use the right stuff. It's not on mental disorder, because mental disorder, you can't put anything on it, is of, right? And then I put some I's in here that the teacher doesn't want you to do. So I'm going to delete that. Okay, so you can't use first person. So this paper, right? The approach, right? The approach, all right, is systemic to abnormal psychology. Okay. And it is as prompted by Professor Castillo using the research model. And you can put colon, biological, psychological, social, and social cultural. Objective, okay. Or you can say the main objective is to analyze mental disorder and you don't need to repeat yourself like a parrot. So I don't need to keep on saying abnormal psychology engage. So main objective is to analyze mental disorder, re-examining by re-examining Halloween, okay? Full thought and then know when to start and stop your thought. Don't keep on going and going and going. Re-examining Halloween solely re-examining Halloween's background, right? Although, transitional, that attempt might ruin fears. Try to leave first person out on Halloween and that of Michael Myers. Sounds a lot better, right? All resources, utilizing resources, because I didn't utilize all of them. Utilizing the resources available to come up with new or reinforce perceptions. Perceptions of movie, right? Perceptions of I don't know what I'm saying there, so I'm going to delete the whole damn sentence. You can't fix it, delete it. Basic rule of English. The portrayal of mental disorder to the actual current descriptions, especially the DSM-5, all right? Achieving better understanding of the movie Halloween and the public's ever-growing perspectives of mental disorders, right? The symptoms of Michael Myers has been portrayed, right, to scare audiences worldwide to sell movie tickets, right? The etiology of his stupor, right, is from catatonia, which is a physical symptom from a psychological disorder, okay? So that is lacking in clarity. So backup is used to sell movie ticket, all right? And that is the motive of Rob Zombie in creating Halloween, right? The etiology and in his prompt, he said anytime we use words like etiology, we need to clarify what that means in our own words or use original examples. So the etiology or the study, the cause or of his the etiology or cause of Michael, right? I have to clarify it's Michael Myers, not the producer. Michael Myers' stupor or stance in a movie, which is his notorious, right, stance, right? Is from catatonia, and quote, that is a physiological, is a physical symptom from a psychological disorder. All right. Now, I'm going to admit it because I can't fix it at this point. Um, he kind of confused the class, right, in citations. So literally, when you quote unquote, you need to put verbatim what the book said or what the article or whatever. I think he confused the class when he said, "Well, you can't do that. Put it in your own words." Uh, I've never seen somebody quote something and put it in their own words. So I think he erred on that. And it's a little too late for me to go in and fix it. Okay. Which, catatonia, all right? And right there, I should have inserted like the author's, first, last, right, page, article, whatever. Right? That might explain why Michael Myers poses the way he does, right? And I'm not going to put his killings are messy because it's irrelevant to stupor and catatonia. Breaking down and understanding the claimed disorders of Michael Myers, right? Okay. Keep in mind that Dr. Loomis, right, is an actor who resolved in shooting or attempting to kill his patient. To kill his patient. And that is not, right? That is not realistic to life, right? How, doctors treat their patients, right? And then this, I said this, I have no idea what I'm trying to say, so I'm gonna get rid of it. Doesn't serve me any purpose, get rid of it. And I went on to say the overlap disorders, right, of Michael Myers, right, because we're not talking about Dr. Loomis or Rob Zombie, are sociopathy, psychology, and schizophrenia, right? And schizophrenia. And schizophrenia is contributes to super, right? And this is off of Fandom. Okay. So Google as a new feature, just like they have the new Google earbuds that are awesome. You know, they help. They're just way better. They're light. They stay clean, and also the connection is like immediate. Great sound quality adjuster, and you could travel to many different languages. Like I know Spanish, a little Vietnamese, and my relatives are French. And if I ever wanted to like speak more Italian, the Google Pixel will help. So on the Google Docs, even though teachers really don't want us to use it, if you are using it, they have a new features where you can add citations. And that is it adds citation, it alphabetizes it, and organize it, right? And as you're doing it, I noticed it was inserting it in my paper for me. So it really saves time, right? So it says the source, I went on to say the source of these kinds of, the sources, right? Uh, um, of the creation, the sources utilized in the creations of horror flicks, right? Are usually not credible, right? Are usually not credible. Are required, right? In the depictions of characters, right? Okay. The historical context of Halloween, right? So that's what my professor prompted me to say. The historical context of Halloween started in 1978 and was produced by Rob Zombie, okay, off of Fandom again. What my professor did clarify was that you need an opening and closing citation within every paragraph. And I think he's saying that within you paraphrasing anything, you cannot verbatim, right? You cannot use citation, obvious. And you cannot say like one or two or three words, that it sounds like one, you can't use citation, that's obvious. And then chronologically, you can't use the same order. It's better to avoid it. Because if you go into Turnitin, And Turnitin might get you on that. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl, Cito. Good girl. Poop it all out. Make your stomach feel better. I know it's running, but at least it's making you feel better when you poop, baby. Good girl. And you're pooping and the light's gone, huh, Cito? Good girl. Good girl. Get it all out of your stomach, baby. Make it feel better. There you go. Cover it up. Cover it up. Good girl. You did a good job, Mommy. Good girl. Cover it up, baby. Good job, baby. You did a good job. Thank you. Want to go outside? Want to go outside, play? Come on. You did a good job. Run around. Air out your butt. You can roll out in the sand, too. Good girl. Sorry about that, folks. I'm trying to nurse Cito back to health, and she kind of reverted a little bit because yesterday I bought her, I guess, some slices of turkey because they were saying, oh, like a little bit of rice and chicken, right, and stuff like that will help. So I figured I'll just give her a little clean, extra protein with turkey, and now she kind of reverted a little bit, so I stopped that right away. So we're just gonna stick to her kibbles until she fully recovers, and then I'm gonna get more today and upgrade, more to veterinarian recommended. But if you can get it at a your actual doctor or order it online, it's better. Don, I heard it's better than going to Vaughn's, right? Because the Vaughn's not that. All right. So as you can see, my paper, it would sound better, right, if I clarified it all out, fully clarified everything for you guys instead of doing this with you guys. But I'm showing you like why it's not good to write things in crunch time, because you can't cover everything like that. All right, so I went on to say the historical context of Halloween started in 1978 and was produced by Rob Zombie. Okay, and like I said, it needs to be, when I quote somebody, it needs to be verbatim what they said, even if it was grammatically incorrect, right? So the professor, he was confusing the student on that. And I went on to say scary movies, in general, plays on the fears of the viewers, right? Even utilizing a fictitious, okay, character wearing a mask of William Shatner, right? And then if you wanted to support that, there's opportunities there for you, right, on Google, but I don't have time for that right now. It has been an intricate part of American culture trending to other countries. And my teacher said, don't say it, because it is so general. An intricate part. You need to be specific, but not say the same thing as the author in the book, essentially. An intricate part of American culture trending to other countries is, right? Is villains, right? And the boogeyman. That are not reality based, right? They're not reality based, but audiences enjoy the fear of a scary movie, irregardless, right? Irregardless or researching, right? The facts, right? It preys on people's fears. The social cultural desire to watch horror flicks, that of Halloween and Marco Mars, made the makers $80.3 million from the cost of $15 million. All right. According to this insert on YouTube, that's original, and then that 80 went up to like 250 million, right? Not just 80 and that maxing of like around 250 million. And you have to write that down. I did it in the quotation because that was how the article was. Maxing of $250 million profit. All right. Worldwide. Eliminating any additional words that creates confusion. And that is from Wikipedia. Okay. The coarse prognosis, all right, that makes no sense. The prognosis, all right, or the prognosis or course studies All right. Of um, a severe mental disorder of schizophrenia, right? And then what I gave an example, it makes no sense. So, a schizophrenia, what is schizophrenia? It is a severe form of disorder, schizophrenia. And then I need to define what schizophrenia is. Schizophrenia is um, disorganized thinking. Or disturbed thought processes, right? Because that's brought up. And then I gave an example that babies are not born biologically with um, schizophrenia. Uh, interestingly, that's a transitional word. But then you know why I'm bringing that up as an example. I think it's interesting. And this is a good opportunity to insert in where I found that, which I ran out of time. So interestingly, right, babies are not born biologically. Babies are not biologically born with schizophrenia. And I can never spell schizophrenia. Schizophrenia. Uh-huh. And stop there, right? And I went on to quote, makes no sense. This disorder is contrary to popular beliefs, right? Comma. This mental disorder right, contrary to popular beliefs, is highly treatable. Because I hear in real life people say that schizophrenia is like the hardest. No, they have a lot more thinking, problems, but it's highly treatable. With psychotherapy to external stressors in conjunction with prescribed medication, right? And don't state the obvious, right? By a psychiatrist, of course, not by a drug dealer. And then closing. And then, although the comprehension, no, that makes no sense. Diagnosis, now I'm describing the difference between diagnosis and prognosis. The diagnosis, right, of schizophrenia is, I need to define what diagnosis is. The diagnosis of schizophrenia are understanding or causation is are symptoms or stressors in life, right? Another sentence, living a quality of life is possible, right? Yet, right, using the right now that's a fanboy, right? Fanboy, FAN boy, BOYS, fanboy, right? For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. So this is a fanboy. Is yet limited to productivity, right? This disorder is diagnosed or based on an individual's disorganized thought processes along with catatonia, reiterated, right? Disengage, all right? Then it goes on to explaining the paralimbic of the the paralimbic of the prefrontal cortex. Well, actually, what I wanted to say, the paralimbic constitutes the prefrontal cortex and amygdala area of the brain, right? Is usually in juveniles. It's just in the prefrontal, right? This is usually in juveniles. Juveniles, or you can say juveniles. Right? Inability to feel guilt for their crime, right? And their disruption, felt guilty for their crimes or control. Hi, Astra. All right. And then I went on to say the disruption and damages of the gray matter, right? Of brain gray matter, right? You can expand on that, but I don't have time. Contributes to psychopathies. Psychopathy is involving the ventral striatum, anterior posterior cingulate, and para-hippocampus gyrus. Okay, and that is taken off of an article. And then I went on to say, perhaps those who hurt others are just crying out for help, which a lot of people have brought up that theory, right? These findings in this article, and I can't say that, according to Professor, because then you have to say what article, right? And then he has rules for that. Like you can't, he was saying that you can't say the article without bringing up the article. so I'm not going to say it. These findings give insight to the lack of emotion in Michael Myers, right? And I have no idea why I brought up Halloween Kills. I'm not going to delete it. You know, lack of emotion and his affinity, right, to crushing skulls. So, you know, that's his modus operandi, crushing on people's skulls, right? His lack of emotions. Not just crushing skulls, but in general. So we'll just stop there, right? And I wanted to say inadequate food and or water consumptions related to catatonia can complex mental disorders, um, okay, remove and disorder, insert a comma. It leads to a physical death for individuals that's going through catatonic episode. So here's when I prove that Michael Myers is more somebody that you shouldn't be scared of, but you should feel sorry for him. And the reality that he dies and he comes back, that's not realistic portrayal, and I need to say it on paper. All right? If this is the case, or in this case, Michael Myers should be a victim, a casualty, deserving sympathy, right? And then I went on to say, and the producer or him, right, dying and coming back, right, over and over is far from reality. And it is that of Rob Zombie. Right? Mm-hmm. And the frenzy of Halloween fanatics. Supporting that which has no basis, which has no research base, right? Credible research base. Credits, okay? The descriptions of stupor will lead to a different understanding, right? Instead of society being scared. Because I know I was watching Halloween and pretty much growing up, I was still scared of them. Then it went on to say disruptions of speech, all right, or mutism accompanies stupor. Okay, and basically they are awareness. And what is stupor is awareness of surrounding, but diminished ability to be responsive, characteristic of Michael Myers. Characteristics of the exploited. Propagated, right? Michael Myers, right? Treatments of catatonia there are treatments. Treatments of catatonia are many, and primarily drugs. Effective drugs of benzodiazepine and glutamate antagonists, antipsychotic, targeted, right? Uh, uh, um, right? With targeted electroconvulsive, right? To supportive psychotherapy. And myriads of other modalities. Right? But I'm not sure of that, so I'm not going to say that. Other than psychotherapy. The small population with this disorder has many treatments available. Okay, so the small population with disorder not only are the small population with this disorder, schizophrenia, or catatonia, or you could say schizophrenia related catatonia, right? Has many treatments available. It affects only 10%. And it went on to saying catatonia has promised or treatments, right? Therapy, therapies to treat catatonia or this disorder are promising. And all right, most patients recover. Recover returning to normal life, which is something they don't give Michael Myers a chance, right? I mean, how can somebody be crazy like him all the time? Not realistic, any of it, right? And it says here, patients of a small percentage of time, so I'm proving it. Catatonic stupor associated with schizophrenia is a medical condition that can be actually life-threatening, not only for mental conditions, but other medical conditions. And this was an article that I got from a doctor, right? Right? Goes on to say, should not be taken as demonic possession or played out in Halloween, right? That's the whole purpose of my paper. Focus, the focus, the focal or the focal point is on treating mental disorders, not the mistreatment, right? Of someone suffering with schizophrenia, right? And then I can span on my conclusions in the movie. Michael Myers, as much as he kills people, his doctors want to shoot him, his sister wants to stab him. The new movie Halloween Kills, whatever that means, they want to, they're like, let him burn. Is this the way you would treat somebody, with a mental disorder, right? And I will also conclude that the article in Fandom, they compared Michael Myers as like the DSM-5, right? Where they just biasly said he is like the whole compilation of all mental disorder. Like, that is so erroneous. That's like a Priscilla Chan saying she's gonna cure all diseases, right? It's like, seriously, that's so not in touch with reality. That's how I should write my conclusion, right? This article questions the treatment of sociopaths and psychopaths in behavior changes. Relapse and returning to old patterns and behavior is expected in this demographic, right? But not denied the right. The list of medication for treatments of schizophrenia are that first and second. So now we're going to the very nitty gritty. You wouldn't know any of this unless you did research. And that's something not presented at all, which I will conclude somehow. It includes first and second generations antipsychotic drugs utilized in injectables that are long acting with other psychosocial skills, vocational, and continued self care, which was never offered to Michael Myers, right? And this is from the Mayo Clinic, reliable source. Um, Initiation and keeping up with appointments and their doctors, right? In long term care. Catatonic stupor associated with schizophrenia is a medical condition. I rewrote that. Oh boy. That's major, major. I rewrote that. That's why you shouldn't Google Docs, because you see how there's a major typo in here? I already wrote that, so I'm going to delete all of that typo. That's reiterated twice, and that's going to cost my paper a lot of errors. Alrighty, so my next paragraph, I should touch base on what I just told you guys. In conclusion, Michael Myers is a fictitious character made up of a William Shatner mask, right? Um, from a Star Trek series. It's a death mask from a Star Trek series. Right? The claims of his disorders are not fact based, right? As the, uh, you know, and uh, characterizing Michael Myers as a compilation of mental disorder has no merit. Okay. Right? In comparison to DSM-5, right? And the stereotyping of people with mental disorder um, has created, if anything, more wrongs to those with these actual, uh, disorders. Because psychology or trepanation of long ago, you know, drilling holes in skulls to release evil spirits are outdated. Modern day, right, medication are treating mental disorders with less side effects. Where, right, nowadays, the need to hospitalize, or nowadays, outpatient clinics are outnumbers hospitals, right? In the deep recess of our minds and that of Halloween is a movie script, right? Planted in the subconscious, right? Fears and nightmares till this fears and nightmares that of another Halloween kills, right? Coming out in movie theaters October 15th, 2021, right? And I'll end it there for now because my video is an hour and 30 minutes. All right. So you can see why, it's important to have the right running header and headers and the right number for the table of content to even know what a table of content is. In general, that is just a reiteration of what your professor prompts. In the, instead of saying introductory paragraph, you could say, like the abstract, right? Um, and then, a lot of it is, like I said, fully covering, you know, everything, here's your chance to really cover everything and make sure, right, you don't crunch time and your utilize Google um, citation feature is very helpful. But remember about automated corrections and how they might insert incorrect things, and also the nitty gritty. Um, for APA and MLA, you need to remove the lines. All right, the lines to the links, which is usually always like that. Um, and there's, people struggle with that too. That's why in college and professor, they don't really want us to use Google because Google is popular. It's easy, but it is not really the best. And so when you use a link, you need to remove the line. And sometimes, it's Google. It's you have a hard time removing those lines. And it's something if you were to use the Microsoft program, you wouldn't, right? So with that said, now you have it. I'm going to insert the maybe an actual clip of the Halloween kills. And I want you to keep in mind what I said in relationship to the movie. All right. With that said, folks, it is now 3:54 p.m., 3:54 on a Wednesday. Whatever you're working on, you know, hard work always pays off, right? Maybe not monetarily, but that's okay. And I just wanted to thank everybody for being here. Cut it off here. Remember to turn on notifications on YouTube and subscribe to your favorite channels. And you're always welcome to subscribe here and share my wealth of knowledge here to everybody.